ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Thoughts for the Soul podcast. Hey, we got a very, very special episode, very, very special guest today. Um, I'm not consistent on my podcast, so to do this turnaround like this, you know what I'm saying? It had to take someone special and something special to have me come out, man. And without further ado, I'm gonna have my special guest to introduce themselves.
Man, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, quick introduction. My name is Cullen Watson. I'm the CEO, founder, and lead designer of my own shoe company, 3D printed shoe company, Katalyst. As you can see on my shirt here, we always promoting. But former Nike employee, two-time Pensole student. Shout out to Pensole and Dr. Dwayne. And man, I have an extensive background, everything from entrepreneurship, owning my own t-shirt company for years prior to the Nike thing, and then X-ray as well. So I feel like I'm pretty divergent with all those things kind of piecing together to where we are now, releasing my first shoe.
So why we here today, man. But everybody don't know what what led to this point. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't mind, it could be very abridged. Just give the people a little bit about your journey to get to this point, like because this is a very monumental point. So give the people a little bit about your story, about your background, of how we even got here before. So you know, I just because once we get here, what I'm saying, it's a lot, but before we got here is very crucial to the story.
Man, um, thank you to alluding to a part of like why we here. Like, um, so just I'll try to do the quicker bridge. So probably about 2016, I've been working in my t-shirt company, Fresh Prince, for about 4 years. I feel like I hit a plateau. Prior to that, I was working in X-ray for about 3 years, and this is all like right out of high school. And so I knew I wanted to help people. That's why I went to medical field first. Um, Working in X-ray allowed me to be a problem solver, help people out, actually see inside of their feet, lower extremity, back, things like that. And so I know I wanted to help people, but I feel like the brand of help that I wanted to do was before they got to the hospital, if that makes sense. And so I knew I wanted to get out of the medical field, and some of my artwork started selling. So I'm drawing on shoes and drawing on hats, and I had a whole company just doing that prior to starting my t-shirt company. And so I remember certain patients would see my artwork and they would just light up. And so for, 10 minutes or however long I'm in front of them, it's like they forgot that they were sick. And I was like, God, can I bottle that up? And that's the feeling that I want to chase the rest of my life, giving people that 10 minutes of just not even thinking about how sick they are. So,
Mhm.
excuse me. So I started my t-shirt company to kind of chase that feeling. Like when I work in my art or design phase, it really gives people that just that getaway, that escape, and it kind of feeds me too. So um, I'm doing that, and I'm working on my shirt company. But about 2016, I hit this plateau, and I'm thinking like, man, what do I want to do after this? And I remember finding like probably 10 of my old sketchbooks from when I was a kid. And I'm looking through and I'm looking through and I'm just immersed in my own work. And it was amazing. The, the work wasn't that great, but the feeling was amazing. And so I flipped
Right.
through, I spent probably a week flipping through my own work. This from when I was a kid all the way up to, as an adult. And every sketchbook had shoes in it. And I'm sitting there like, man, did I do this intentionally? Or, well, I see like no less than 1,000 different shoes that I had sketched out over time. And I'm just like, that's the feeling. Like the feeling that I'm trying to have for them, that's what gave me that feeling. Like seeing those shoes and going back to my work. And I said, man, how do I become the person that can make these though? This 10 years ago. So I'm just like, I don't have a clue how to do it. I wrote out a list of about 5 things and I went to Bible study. I go to Bible study. I'm talking to one of my friends. I'm telling her my dream is to design shoes. I show her all these old sketches. And she was like, it's possible. Like, you can do it. Other people, somebody have to be designing these shoes from somewhere. And I was like, well, I heard that Nike was in Oregon. And this is me just not knowing anything about the shoe industry or anything, how hard it is to get in or whatever. I just know where Nike is. And so
Right.
she was like, well, have you ever went? I'm like, of course not. Like, what you mean? I didn't know I could go, you know. And I'm, you know, we from Texas, bro. Like
Exactly. Yeah, we
I'm
from
from
Texas.
East
Yeah, like
Texas, and
yeah,
you from here.
I'm from South, you from East, but yeah.
So East Texas is this chain of small towns that you really just, man, you get a job. People get jobs and treat them like careers, or you get a career and that's just what you do. Like your path is pretty much set. I don't know anybody that's doing anything so big and grand from out here that I could follow it as a blueprint, if that makes sense. And that's no down to anybody, but it felt like a small thing to me because I just feel like I have the capacity to do much more. But
Right.
man, I'm talking to her and she was like, I just graduated with a guy who went to this thing called Pensole, and then months after he finished that, he got a job at Nike. And I don't remember, this is gonna sound a little bit, I don't remember anything else from the Bible study, like not a word. I know we prayed
Forgive
and
us,
left.
Father.
Yeah,
Forgive us,
forgive us.
Father.
Forgive me, Lord. But he know my heart. He know my
Exactly.
heart. Um, but I don't remember anything else from it because it's like time froze. Like in that second where she said pencil, Nike. And I said, boom, like that's all of the blueprint that I need, which was not, it didn't give me no steps in between. I don't know how much it
Right.
costs, how much time, but I had them 2 things and I was like, bro, she said it's possible. We're gonna figure it out. And so,
Right.
to be more short and condensed, because this is about another 30 minutes of me just talking about
Really,
how
really,
to
really could go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Let's just be real about it.
for real.
But yeah, like it's just I'm a it's some key parts I want you to say, but I'm gonna see if you say it naturally. But all right, like come on.
But yeah, at that part of the story, I'm leaving that Bible study. I
Mhm.
researched Pensole for another like 3 days, and I'm looking at all the things. I'm seeing some of the designers like Precious and all these other people, and I'm enamored. I can't believe like this is a real thing, and it started by somebody that looks like me, and all of these people had success stories, post going to Pensole. And so I'm on the website 3 days straight researching. I'm trying to learn everything about Dwayne Edwards and about shoe design. And man, they just happen to have a class around that time where you have to submit a video and a design and this and that. And I was just like, man, I hate being on camera and recording, look kind of like now, but I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like this is like dream based, so I'm gonna do it. I submit something to that first class, and I didn't get into that first class, but they emailed me back like, "Yo, you on the right track? Keep submitting, blah blah blah, this and that." They had another 2 classes after that, and I got picked for both of them, but I could only afford to go to one at the time. So my first time in Oregon was like that was at the tail end of 2016. So my first time in Oregon was 2017. I go to this pencil class in the summer, and I'm amazed, bro. Like it's a room full of me's, like 30 people that's about this
Right.
design
Right.
thing, problem solving. I couldn't believe it. Like you know how it is, like when you find your tribe and you're like, so they get me.
It's real. I'm not
It's
I'm not I'm not I'm not a lonely beast out here.
out here in these streets.
Yeah.
But it felt like my world opened up at that moment. And I had done things in life that felt successful and on the right path. But when I got there and got to Portland and I'm meeting with all these people, it was a whole week worth of just design and meetings, and they really treated it like you're already hired in the thing. By the end of that week, I knew, like in my gut, I was like, yo, I'm moving here. I talked to two different people that had quit their jobs elsewhere and had moved out there, just like uprooted their whole life, like Chris Dixon and my friend Luis
Man,
Pizzana. Hearing their stories when I got there, like they uprooted their life, their family, to come out there to pursue footwear. And it's like if you want to be in movies, you go to Hollywood. If you want to be in fashion, you might move to New York. But for footwear, it's like you either moving here or Boston.
right, right,
Like you
right.
you can't be in East Texas and do this thing. So I man, I shut down my business when I got back to Texas. I stewed on it for about 2 weeks, and we had shirts coming out that were going to make me some money, so I made the money, and then I shut the business down. I sold my machine, got rid of a car, got out of my apartment lease, moved in with family, and I was like, "Yo, we're finna streamline this thing," and I think I'm gonna move to Oregon. And everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, "Bro, like you're not even in the industry. You just got this one little peek in." But for me, all I need is that peak. Like if you show me that it's possible to do this or do that, and then I got two other people's stories who they uprooted and they just came out there off of faith. I was like,
Right.
well, I'm faith based, bro. Like, you know, you can't beat me in believing at some points. And so I just went ahead and went. Man, I shut down everything. I moved out there. Um, New Year's Eve of like I think 2017, and no job, no nothing. But I know that there's multiple shoe companies there. I know that Nike's there. I know that Pensole is here. So if nothing else, I can keep learning at Pensole until I become who can sit in these offices and make these shoes. Um, all the steps in between, I was just, I was just hoping, you know. It was just
Right.
faith and hope. And so I moved out there. The first job I got was at a Walmart, and I'm working there. I'm there for like 3 months, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. The guy I was renting from worked
Man,
at Jordan Brand, and he was like, "Bro, you didn't move all the way out here on faith to work at Walmart and then try to learn when you can." He said, "Man, get any job on Nike campus. I'm gonna take you on a tour. Get any job that you can on the campus, anywhere, doing anything, janitor, whatever." He was like, "You have a better chance there and actually being where these things are. Um, it increases your chances exponentially just being here. You know that." And so it made me think about like when Denzel say like you come to the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. You're gonna leave with a haircut.
right, right.
And so he takes me on the tour where he worked in the Jordan building. I had never been on Nike campus prior to that.
The
He
Mecca.
takes the Mecca, bro, the Mecca for real. He takes me on the tour, and I am, I'm like you were. It was just like it was overwhelming at first, like just seeing everything on this grand scale. But it was the most like it was just like being in that room in Pensole again times 25. Like I said,
Times
oh
a
yeah,
hundred.
100.
Man.
It elevated everything. I felt like just being there, I could like the possibilities were endless. Just me being there, and just to backtrack, just a step. I had been watching Tinker Hatfield's oh my God on Abstract, and so
That documentary.
yes, it's one of my favorite things, bro.
Yeah, one of my favorite documentaries ever, man. Yes.
I think they did it so well, and it was just it's so him, but then it's so like the industry, like the whole thing. It if
Right.
you're that type of person and you're trying to get into footwear, I would say definitely watch that. So I was watching that and reading Shoe Dog simultaneously, like going back and forth with both. And I just remember being like, as I'm pressing shirts and still doing my business back in Texas, I remember having that documentary playing every day. Like every day, I would get to the part where he's walking into the Jordan building, and I would rewind it back. It sounds crazy, I know. I would rewind it back, and I watch it again. I rewind it back, and I watch it again. Just trying to put myself there physically. And then I'm reading Shoe Dog, reading this whole thing from Phil himself, and he's given Shoe Dog. If you ever read it, it reads like a movie. Like it really just needs to be a movie, you know. And so I'm going back and forth between there. I go apply for man, Aramark was having like a like a job fair. So I'm already in Oregon. I did the tour of Nike, and my friend was like, "Get any job that you can." Aramark happened to be having a job fair the next day after he said all of this. I leave work, and I was just like, "Bro, forget this job. Let me go pursue this thing." You know why I came out here. And
Right.
so I go to the job fair. They hire me on the spot. They were like, "You're gonna start in 2 weeks," and I was like, "Bro, I don't got 2 weeks." Like, um, I was like, "Man, I'm ready to get to it." They telling me that I'm gonna be somewhere on Nike campus. Like, I'm ready to get to it, even if the job happened to be, how they make these jobs sound all bougie. It sounded like I was gonna be doing
Yeah,
something
talk about you
outside of washing dishes.
a curator of
Dish
fine
technician,
dinnerware.
curator.
This technical curator.
Basically, you shining plates, but you're washing. And so I had no clue by the job description exactly what I'd be doing, but I knew I was going to be in the cafeteria because it's Aramark. And I didn't know where I was going to be. Nike campus is massive. And then they own buildings off of campus. And the place where I got interviewed was off of campus. So
Right.
I was like, if I'm not on the main campus and I'm over here, then I'm still a part of Nike and I can kind of maneuver. I can make this work for me. My first day, I report to Nike campus, and they were like, "Hey, you're just gonna come in through the front gates and take a left." And I said, "Through the front gates? Are they talking about the gates that I was just looking at on the abstract thing? They talking about those front gates, like the actual front, like main entrance of Nike World Headquarters." I report.
The
I had to
front.
ride a bus,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
Like, I didn't even bring my car when I moved. So I get off the bus, I go in through the front gates. I got stopped, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think that person works there anymore. But I got stopped at the front gates, and I all but had to call the guy who was going to be over me to come and get me at the front gates from the like he was the head chef. So he comes to get me, and he was like, "Man, it's okay, it's okay. They stop people every now and then." And so I go in through the front gates. Like this is that part of that tinker walk when he comes in on abstract through Nike. I go in through the front gates and I'm like, oh man, everything I was just looking at is right here. It's on this walk. We take the left, and the Jordan building is on down, but I'm working at JBS cafeteria that's right behind the Jordan building. Had no clue that I was going to be working there until my first day, and I was like, I'm like this far from walking in through that building and being that person. So I'm not Tinker yet, but I'm gonna be on these dishes until we get to where we need to get. And longer story short,
Right.
I go in for my first day and I see the potential in me being able to meet with and talk with and experience Nike in a way that most people can't. And I was like, I'm literally going to have to work my way up, from the bottom up. I'm on campus, but I stayed after my first day. I stayed about 4 hours after work, and I just went around the whole campus. Like I walked everywhere. Just taking it all in, like, okay, we here. We got this far without knowing what to do. But now I'm on Nike campus. And so most people will look at that as like, bro, you washing dishes. Like, what do you mean? What you mean you here? Like you made it. But just the thought of coming from East Texas, where I'm
Yeah.
from, and making it all the way out there off of something that I saw on Abstract with Tinker, the most famous shoe designer in the world, footwear designer in the world, to being projected right here, like in the middle of it's like being in one of the chapters of Shoe Dog. Like I'm right here, and the first building on Nike campus, like right in the middle, is Pre Hall, Steve Prefontaine, but it has a lot of Nike history in it. And so I walked in there that first day, and you just walking through Nike history. Like they got the waffle iron, the actual iron, where the soles were pressed, and they got so many memorabilia from how Nike was built. And I was like, man, I'm literally I'm walking in history, you know? I'm walking in their history to try and create my own. And so I took that job like super serious. I took it so serious that I ended up getting a promotion to where I would go to the next building and bring back stuff, stock up stuff. And my goal was like 50 people need to know who I am and what I'm in the hunt for while I'm here. They need to know that I want to be a shoe designer, and they need to know my face as soon as they see me. And so I just got to the business of understanding like what Nike was. Not only is it the biggest sportswear company in the world, the dopest shoes in the world, in my opinion, it is what it is. It's debatable now. Um, Not only is it all those
Hey,
things. See, exactly. But I was like, they're the biggest like promoters in the world. Like they know how to market. If other companies had Nike's marketing and affinity towards innovation, they could be right here. And I was like, so how do I innovate me and how do I market me? So I had been in these like I forgot what they call it when you just meeting one on one with people. Uh, when you just sitting with people. But
eval.
yeah, kind of like that. Um, but I found out that I could sit with anybody. Like if I ask, they will be willing to take a meeting with me. Having a friend that worked in Jordan Brand also helped because anytime they had an event off of campus, he's pulling me to it. And so he's doing me like this pretty much, like stretching me because I'm East Texas. I'm here. Like I'm in a box in a bottle here. And then to be what I'm trying to become, like I'm gonna have to stretch that out. Like we're gonna have to walk a little different, talk a little different. And you know how it is, like you're trying to adjust to something bigger. And so he would take me out of places that were take me to places that were out of my comfort zone. So the guy that was washing dishes earlier, now I'm at the art shows with him, with the whole Jordan design team. And now I'm at, this place and that place and going on hikes and doing this and that. Nothing that's nothing that looks similar to coming from East Texas. And man, over the course of a year, I'm able to meet with top designers, top marketers, branders, financial people. So I feel like I have bits and pieces of a little bit of everybody. I learned how to market myself in the sense of I came from the t-shirt background, so I was like, "Bro, I'm gonna start putting stuff on t-shirts." I put my whole resume on a shirt. I put my picture and a resume on my shirt, so I'll show up to meetings with a whole, my whole deck just on the shirt. I noticed that people carry totes. And so I was like, hey, you mind if I get your tote, man? Let me do some artwork on it. And most people would be like, yeah, okay. It's just a tote. But then when I bring it back to them and I done painted a whole Jordan picture, this and that on it, they like, bro, who are you? Like, this the guy that washes dishes. um, I had a little cart that was outside
Right.
of the dish place and I would just start hanging totes on it, like my artwork. I would customize shoes and I put that on it. People started giving me shoes, so I'm customizing that. And then I noticed, like, too, in a part of marketing myself and just becoming this thing, I was like, man, Nike doesn't make non-slip shoes. Like, if you work in the cafeteria, it's hundreds of employees that come to that campus every day and can't wear Nikes because you have to wear non-slip shoes and Nike don't make them. So you have to buy it from some other brand. And I hated it. I was like, bro, we out here and y'all got the latest off-white this and that, and we over here in some duds. And I remember some of the meetings I would take, I would feel so beneath people just in how I had to dress to show up for my job. But then I remember reading this thing saying like you got to dress for the job that you want. And so, man, as soon as I would get a break before work, after work, I throw all that dish stuff off, and I have a whole nother, set of fresh clothes, fresh shoes, and you couldn't tell that I worked at any place. I just looked like a regular employee, and that was the goal because I'm trying to dress for what I want. And so, man, I'm
Right.
gonna condense the rest of this. I'm gonna condense the rest of it. But after that year, a little bit over a year, meeting with people, dressing different, thinking different, I didn't have any digital skills when I moved out there. That's when I got my first iPad, and now, like I spent 2 weekends just didn't go outside. I'm sketching on the iPad. I'm getting my digital skills up. I'm starting to understand like what's going to make me better out here. And I got very aggressive in having more meetings, knowing that they didn't make non-slips. I found a place in Portland that had like outsole material and leather and stuff like that. Portland Leather Company or something like that. It was right around the corner from Pensole. So I go there, I buy some non-slip material, buy some glue and some upper material. Some people from Jordan Brand gave me like different Jordan tongues and different like leftover stuff from shoes that they weren't going to use. And I applied that to a Jordan 1, applied the non-slip material. And so I'm already problem solving. I'm already doing this, already doing that. A lot of people started seeing me like doing stuff like that, and they were like, "Bro, he's he different, like he different." So because of that, I was the first person with non-slip Jordan 1s in there, and I got in trouble for it. I got a little write up, but this, neither here nor there. Um,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people,
We know you did.
yeah, of course, some people from the Jordan team was like, "Man, you just got the Jordan 1 banned again, bro." Like, um, but you got it rebanned. And so, because of that, Aramark put a clause in that you can't do altered non-slip footwear. But it all came from me trying to problem solve and say, Nike, y'all need to be making non-slips, at least for the people that's on your campus, because you're promoting everybody when you're here and everybody got to eat. So, um, the bigger part of the story for me was who am I becoming doing all these things, number one. But number two, I used to languish like not wanting to go to work. Like, bro, I'm washing dishes. Like, I'm 30, chasing the dream and washing dishes, but I'm washing dishes at Nike. And I had friends that would call me and be like, bro, like what you up to? I keep seeing these pictures you posting. And I tell them like, man, I'm at Nike. I'm at Nike. And they be like, oh man, that's so dope. But then I tell them what I do. Well, I work in the cafeteria and I'm trying to do this. And I remember a couple of my friends from here like laughing at me or whatever. And I'm just like, man, it just is what it is. I might have to get laughed at for a season, but I know what I have in mind. I have a vision for what this thing can be.
Right.
And there's no other place I could get this level of training without paying. Like I'm basically getting paid a dishwasher's salary to learn what I want to do and who I want to become. And I'm learning from the top designers and thinkers and problem solvers in the world right now. And so I remember praying to God about it, and God was like, just look at it as service. Like you're here to serve, no matter what your capacity is or this or that. Some people can't serve past the capacity, and he was showing me different people that had worked in that same position I was in, washing dishes, this and that. He said that's their capacity. They giving the best or the most that they have from this position. But he said service starts everywhere that you at. So he showed me the CEO. The CEO got to serve the board. Um, this person, the next person down got to serve. This person got to serve. And he said, I brought you in a level of servitude so you can understand service, because I can't just have you making shoes that people gonna do whatever they need to do in if you don't understand that it's service. You serving their feet. Their feet are serving the purpose of them going to work or doing whatever they do in the course of a day. Um, but once it was broke down to me like that, I said, let me serve. Let me serve. Let me see how I can serve better, how I can serve more, and become better at even designing shoes. Because at that point, I feel like I had learned so much that I wasn't ready to go to like use it, but I was like, you got to get me out the kitchen now. Like I'm too big for the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so my next job at Nike was working in the air factory. They make all the air units in Beaverton, and then they ship them to wherever the shoes are going to be actually made at. And I didn't even know that, but I was like, man, they have something that's proprietary that's just them, and then they ship it out. And so that even let me see something else. Like, man, they they control all of this in a way. And so that was my next job. And then my next job was at the van after that. So the van saw that I could draw and do stuff like that. They were looking for somebody to design logos. They told me to come up with like three different things. The van is Nike's internal like sample sale to employees. And they were just kind of on the move. I think they were in year number two. They asked me to draw like three logos. I came back with a page, 2 pages of like 30. Because I'm gonna serve, like I'm gonna overserve, really. And so I came back with that, and then they were like, "Man, come do a walkthrough at the van." They had just got two direct to garment T-shirt machines that they didn't really know how to use, and I was like, "Bro." you said I'm looking at God like you set me up perfect because I worked around shirts for the last five,
Yeah.
6 years. Even while I was in Oregon, I was still doing shirt releases for my high school here in Gladewater, Texas, the small town. But I was still doing releases here and then just kind of let my family work my t-shirt business, just so we could still be in business, keep the name going, keep me designing and just nimble. Like my pen's still sharp, my pencil's still sharp. So keeping those skills up. But we when I did that walkthrough and I see those two printers that they got, I'm like, bro, I know what to do with them. I'm like, God, thank you, because this a layup for me. And I was like, hey, y'all need to tweak the machine to these settings. Y'all have to start pre-treating the shirts. You have to do this, and I'm not gonna go down like all the stuff I know about shirts. I'm doing stretch tests on the shirts to see if it like everything stay and all the shirt stuff. And they like, who did we just get in here? And I remember the lady that was second in command at that spot in Nike. She didn't really she did the walkthrough and was like, all right, it was, nice to meet you, nice to blah, 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 this and that. And she was about to let me go, but the guy that's over her that really started the van that had something to do with starting it, he saw me and he was just like, what were you doing with the shirt stuff? Like, can you come back over? And so I was like, yeah, man, I could train somebody to do this. And I looked at him like, you could pay me to train somebody to do this, or you could just kind of have me here. So I was trying to, kind of nudge my way in because I think God will put us in certain places, but we also have to be willing to say, I need to get what I need to get from this. How do I sponge this moment? How do I understand it fully and take everything that I can take from it? And if I hadn't said anything, he wouldn't have been like, come back tomorrow. So he was like, man, come back tomorrow, let's talk. And so I ended up talking to him, meeting with him for like a couple of hours. It was supposed to be like a 30-minute meeting. We didn't talk for 2 hours. We laughing and joking. And he was like, we're gonna hire you, man. He was like, I see something in you. I don't know if we're just going to be a step in your story here, but I definitely see something in you. I've talked to a few other people. He talked to people that I had met with over time in that first year of washing dishes. Like the problem solving and stuff that I had done in there was kind of spreading through that part of the company. And so it it helped me get this job. Like, so I ended up starting at the van. My first shirts sold like I think within probably 10 minutes of putting our first two shirts on the van, we had sold probably 5,000 shirts. Um, I came from a shirt background, but of course I had never done anything like that. I'm seeing these Nike numbers and I'm just like,
Like God, dog.
whoa, these are all employees too. People people that design shirts for Nike were buying our stuff like, oh yo, you got the eye for this thing. Like come meet with us. So I end up meeting with people from that just do t-shirts at Nike, people that just do packaging at Nike. So I done sat with like 4 or 5 different teams and I'm like, God, if you let me get in here, like I'm 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 the guy. I'm trying to think of somebody I can equate it to. Um, Kind of like how Kawhi like learned different parts of the game. Like it's certain players that are come in good at one thing, but then they just start grouping skills from other people, like Jimmy Butler type of thing. So then they become like this Swiss Army knife of I know how to do this. I know how to do this. I can serve here at a high level. And so for me, all of these pieces started to come together in a way of like you making me like you making me something else like out here. um I can design shirts better, faster. I got digital skills now. I'm not as scared to talk in front of people. Everybody keep asking me my story. That's like a Nike thing. Like, what's your story? So I'm having to open up. I had to pitch a couple of things. I designed some stuff around like when George Floyd passed. I redesigned the banners to have, instead of athletes having like George Floyd and all of these people who have been affected by police brutality, I had their faces on the banner. Like I started doing stuff like that, like really telling stories and really telling Black stories too. Met James Whitner and so many people, but my network of people started growing so big and so immense that I knew it was going to take me somewhere else. Um, Like you're not sitting here meeting James Whitner and talking for an hour and not, you know, yeah, I mean, James. So
Yeah,
hearing that,
you're gonna be able to take something away from a conversation with James.
absolutely. And I met 10 Jameses. I'm talking with H. I remember when I couldn't get a meeting with H. And then he said, man, I've been seeing you out here for a year plus, just out in this lobby, drawing and drawing. And he said, man, I love your stuff. I love your hustle. He said, you got it, but he said, don't take yourself out of the game before you get into it, like being so humble and so this and that. He said it's a fine line between like arrogance and knowing you got it and being humble and coming in and getting it. And he said, you're doing the right thing. Just remember, we all put our pants on the same. you know, he said, that's from me, you, and Michael Jordan. Then I was able to meet Michael Jordan and like so many other influential people. And I was like, man, I don't know why I'm being shown all these things, but at the end of the day, like we were saying, like you can't meet all these people and do all these things and not turn to somebody else or like grow or evolve into somebody else. And so at the
Right.
end of all of this, I'm in my last year at Nike, and I'm thinking I've seen so much. They had me around innovation. They had me around this place and that place, and people would just bring me into meetings. Like it started. My job, I was a digital creation lead my last year at Nike, and that's really just making sure everything's in alignment as we send it to different factories.
Mhm.
Um, but because of that, you have to work with color design, material, this person, that person. So again, I'm in this place of servitude, not where I want to be just designing shoes, but I get to sit with different shoe teams. I'm sitting with Nike SB, the skateboard, and ACG team. We going on hikes and doing stuff like this. And I have learned from so many people that, you know, and I'm leaving people out that are so influential, but I've learned from all these people so much, like I have to become something different. And I know I'm still like an entrepreneur at heart. So sitting in a company is amazing, especially Nike, because like I said, bro, it's nothing like it. It's like if you're trying to be in Hollywood and you at the biggest production thing and you get to see everything and everybody. Um, but I had added all these pieces and I was just like, bro, I might be able to go now. Like I feel like I came in, I got a wealth of knowledge. I've been a sponge for 5+ years out here. I know how to move in this market and that market. I've seen drops and been a part of so many things. And by the time I get to the last year, I was just like, I guess it's time for me to graduate. But I don't know what to graduate to. Like, where do you go after you come, like you said, the Mecca?
Most
What you do after
definitely.
you leave the Mecca? And I think my answer was create my own,
Yep.
create my own Mecca. Every piece of this story just kind of let me know that it's possible to do these things. Um, and that ended up being like my calling card. It's possible. And I remember when I first got there, I was like, God, if you with me, I can win. You know, and that's the only way I can go. That's the only way I know to go. And so I remember writing messages to myself on the bottom of my shoe the first 2 years when nobody knew me and people just walked past me. Um, I would still be writing stuff on my shoes like keep the faith, keep believing. One of my favorite books, The Alchemist, I wrote out like the whole world is conspiring for your success, for your greatness.
Hmm.
I write all these messages on my shoe and I just keep walking in it every day until I truly believed it. And I knew at some point my belief and my work was going to catch up with my faith and we'll be able to make something amazing. And so that's what brought us here now. That's what made me a catalyst.
And now that we here now, I need that same energy. I need that same thoroughness. I need that same thoughtfulness and that same enthusiasm when we talk about the now in the catalyst. So let's get into the catalyst.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, like I said, all of those pieces helped me create who I was trying to become this whole time. And a lot of times I didn't even know what it was. You know, I would lose my own North Star of what that was. But as long as I brought it back to some form of service on the level of capacity that I've grown to, then I know I could really get there. And so I was thinking one day, like, man, you know, life is made up between these big moments in life, but those catalyst moments are what truly define people. That's what people look at your life and they say, he did this, he did that. They don't really look at all the stuff in between. You know, they not looking at me washing dishes. They looking at the first shirts that I helped release at Nike. They looking at the first shoe that I got to like do a little tweaking and stuff on. And so I was like, man, Catalyst, like those moments, those big moments that have finish lines, but yet have starting lines attached to them. Like when you graduate, now who are you going to be in the market now that you've graduated to do a certain thing? And so I was just like, man, I'm gonna call my company Catalyst because like I want to bottle that feeling up, but also I feel like I am that person. Like
Right.
they keep leveling up to this or leveling up to that. And so when I created my first shoe, I was bringing all of those years of being at Nike from the time that I got there and I'm washing dishes to the time that I'm working on, you know, my last year about to leave and I'm working on like an Olympic, Olympic project using an old Serena sneaker. Like we were on a Serena sneaker for a fencing unit that's going to be in the Olympics. And I said, I came from this to become that. And so now graduating, I was like, how do I make people feel what I felt? And so, man, my first shoe is really an ode to all of the people, all of the things that I learned along the way. Um, a lot of the design element from this shoe are actually things taken from, you know, my childhood all the way up to now.
Right.
So one of my favorite shoes as a kid was the Kobe 2 that came out from Adidas. And it had just a crazy shape. It was like the Tesla of shoes, the Tesla truck of shoes. And people either really hated it or really loved it. But just the overall shape I loved. When Iverson first came out, his first shoe, that question with the different toe,
Mm-hmm.
my absolute favorite shoe of all. I mean, I wouldn't say of all time, but I had
It's
about
up
six
there.
pair of those.
Yeah.
It's up there. I had six of them. The Jordan 5, 15, and then once I got as a kid, but then once I got to Nike, one of the first shoes that somebody gave me was a Jordan 28. And I remember it having a decoupled sole, like two different sole levels under your foot. And I remember the first time I played in it, I was like, they need to make all the shoes like this because this is I feel like I could really hoop, you know. And I can play, but it made me feel like, bro, I'm about to they don't want to see me on the
I'm
court.
about to go through the roof in this thing, man.
Yeah, I'm about to be Jordan. Like I feel like the free throw line not that far. So but the 28, the 5, the 15, that first Iverson shoe, and then that Kobe 2 from Adidas, it all came together and it's like certain elements of my shoe that kind of speak to all of those because I wanted the first thing that I make to show love to everybody that kind of influenced me along the way. And so like with the front of the shoe and the toe cap, I wanted that to feel like that first Iverson shoe. With the bottom, the decoupled sole, I wanted that to feel like the 28, like how it felt underfoot. The Jordan 5 and 6 having those like exaggerated like ankle pieces. It just made me feel like I was more stable in the shoe, which they don't really do a lot for you, but I just felt more stable in them and I liked it. I just liked it as a design element. And then being able to work with Wilson around like a couple of
I
Serena
mean,
shoes.
everybody don't know.
I'll be
I
forgetting.
mean, when you say, because I wanted to correct you earlier when you said H. I'm like, I know H, but who is H? And then
Yeah.
so
Let's do Wilson. Wilson has a lot more to do with my story. Wilson Smith the third,
the
one of
third,
Nike's
you know what I'm
most,
saying?
the
Trey.
third Wilson, one of Nike's most famous designers, credited to be the first black footwear designer in the entire industry, and that's Nike and everywhere. Um, when I was in high school, all the way back when I was in high school, somebody from the Dallas Art Institute came to like, like recruit us and stuff like that as
Hmm.
art students. Um, she was talking to me about something, and she was like, "Hey, you know what? I got something." She brought the Jordan 17. Had, it came in that case, and it had
Mm-hmm.
a CD-ROM in it. That's how long ago I was in high school, but that's neither here nor there. It had a CD-ROM in it, and she played it. And I see this black guy standing over Michael Jordan, like he's sketching, he's showing Jordan all of these things, and I'm just like, bro, who is this? And I'm a kid in school trying to figure out who I'm going to be, what I'm going to do. Had never seen somebody designing shoes in my life. I didn't even know how to research it at that time, and it just was burned in my memory, like seeing this black guy sitting with Michael Jordan. Jazz music is playing, and he's designing this thing. And
Right.
so I get to my first year at Nike. I'm washing dishes, and the door is kind of catty corner to a bar at Nike. And I hear this voice, and I'm like, I've watched enough. I've watched enough YouTube videos of Wilson to know his voice is really distinct. If you know him, you know. And I was like, bro, I'm washing, and I'm like, yo, that sound like that guy, the black guy, this black designer. That sound like Wilson. And so I hear it again, and he has a distinct laugh, really loud. And I was like, that's Wilson. I think that's Wilson, man. And so I throw off my all of my washing stuff. I throw all of that off. I try to get, cleaned up real quick. And the door that you can see out of at that particular wash station at Nike, you can see out of it if somebody walks by. And so he walked by really fast, and I said, "Man, that's Wilson, bro." And then I'm struggling with myself, like, what do I do? Like, I had that whole thing of like, bro, I'm just a dishwasher. Like, why would he talk to me? Why would he take the time to this and that? But then I remember something H said, like, everybody put their pants on the same way, bro. Like, don't take yourself out of the race before you're in it. And so I was just like, I'm gonna go embarrass myself. I'm gonna just go introduce myself. If he talked to me, he talked to me. And I had that mentality, one, coming from a small town, but two, um, this one pastor, Bishop Jakes, would say, like, people treat you how they met you. And some people really treated me like a dishwasher out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't even in the room. Like, we're not
Yeah.
talking to them. They walk right past me. I'd be like, hey, and they just right on by.
Keep walking. Yeah.
Keep walking. But then some people saw who I was, could potentially become, and just were good people. And I'm still in touch with a lot of those people today. Shout out to them. And so Wilson became one of those people. I went out there after cleaning myself up and just doing this whole mindset adjustment. I pray real quick, and I go and I meet him. And he was like, "Man, I don't know you, but there's just something about you. You have the it factor." And he said, "I don't know what it is, but you have it. You
That's
got to know
that
Wilson to
sound like
know.
Wilson.
You got to know him to know that that's how it
That
kind of
sound
came
like him.
out."
Yep. 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 Yep.
But he just kept meeting up with me. Different parts of my story, I go from this kid who just saw this guy on a CD-ROM in class to now we're talking. He gives me his number. And that first time that I met him, he was like, he texted me real late at night. It was probably 11 something, almost midnight. And he was like, "Hey, I'm doing a walkthrough." This is when he was over Nike DNA. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, DNA, that's the Department of Nike Archives. Everything
Right.
is there. And so
Right.
everything from the start of the company before it was Nike to now.
Yeah.
And he was over that, like a curator, storyteller, all of that. He said, "I'm doing a walkthrough for this group at Nike tomorrow morning. It's gonna be super early. I don't know if you're interested, but if you want to go, like, I'll just put you in as part of their team, and I'll walk you through." And he said, "You'll have a little bit of time afterwards as well to kind of, do what you're gonna do." And here I am, my first year out there, had never met Wilson before. All of these things feel like they stacked up against me to not know or be this thing, but everything kept pulling me into rooms that felt like they were bigger than me until I could grow to that capacity. I go on that tour, and Wilson was like, "Hey, if you want to linger a little longer, like, take your time. I'm gonna come back and do some more storytelling with you." I had an hour to myself walking through that thing with that team, and then an hour with Wilson just learning, being a sponge. I'm asking him everything and nothing at the same time. And he's giving me stories about all these back things, who H was, is. and all these things about Michael Jordan. He was like, Jordan didn't like this one. Tinker didn't like when I did the air, but he said he told me it was going to make millions. And he's giving me all these backstories about him and Tinker and different moments. And I'm just, bro, to know me is to know that I was in there just so, it was so rich. You know, I couldn't believe that I was getting this opportunity. But because of that, on down the line, like he left from being a mentor to me to being more of a friend. So there's things that I did along my walk at Nike that he would ask me for, like, you did the artwork for this, this, and this. Can I get that? And I'd be like, you want something from me? Like, stop it, man. Like, for real, you know. But he was like, can you sign them? So he has artwork in his house from me, like with my signature, and asked me to sign it and stuff like that. And different things like all over his house where I'm it felt like I had a chapter in his story, a small chapter, but I'm in there. Both of our stories have each other in it. My last year there, he allowed me to be a part of this Serena project where they were taking one of her retro shoes and upgrading it to a fencing shoe for the Olympics from this group out of New York. Um, a black guy started a fencing company in New York, had people that went to Olympics. He had won gold, all these things, and that was the last project that I worked on. But it was a culmination of having Wilson, the Olympics, Serena, all of these things. Were like I was like, man, this is the most grand project that I'll probably work on here. Like this, it has everything. And so I brought up Wilson earlier because with that particular shoe, I can't remember if it's the Court Fury or what the actual shoe is called. So one of Serena's like most used shoes. It had like it was broken down kind of like an Air Force One, and so that way they could do a lot of different colorways, different panels all over the shoe. And so I was like, by the time 3D printing catches up to where my mind is, we'll be able to do different colors. So I'm gonna just design it that way ahead of time, so I know like we can go around the shoe and do multiple colorways. And so like if you can see like the break points of all of these feel like a Air Force One, Jordan One, but that mesh goes all the way around the shoe 360 for breathability and for colorway purposes when we can do like multiple colors. And so that's how Wilson was a part of my story in the beginning and towards, like where I'm at now. Um, so that element came in the shoe just because of that stuff with him. But all of the other stuff is like, Jordan 28, Jordan 5, all the things. And this, using something older or retro or vintage to create something new. So
So what do you like most about your first shoe, man? Like, let's get into it. Like, what do you like most about your first shoe? Like, give me your if you have a your top three favorite things about the Catalyst.
the Catalyst one. So I would say the first thing is the K logo is going to be, of course, in reverse. But this K logo, my mom designed this when I was in like third grade. And I feel like I've been a brand my whole life. And so that K logo is really specific to, of course, it speaks to Catalyst and me spelling Catalyst with a K because my own name starts with a K. But this was like a way for me to pay it forward to her, just showing her that my story doesn't happen without you, in any sense. She bought my first ticket so I could go to the first pencil class. Like, and then as soon as I got my first like actual Nike job, I flew my mom out. I was like, yo, it's just like if you went pro, bro, you flying your mama out. Like, my story never would have started on this thing without her just taking it and being like, you know what? I hate that you're gonna move and you got to move away to pursue your dreams, but I always knew it was gonna happen because your capacity. And so this K logo is on the top for her. Just like every time anybody looks down at my shoe, they got to see something that she created. So I would say that, of course, the name Catalyst on the side mirror, the side pane, and then really the outsole of the shoe. This is where I do like more of the storytelling. So I don't know how well we'll be able to see it, but I believe in like chasing your dreams. Like my whole footwear story, or me even getting in the industry, was chasing a dream that I didn't know how it was going to turn out. And so I remember saying to myself one day, like a lot of us chase our dreams, but we not always we don't always feel like we can catch them. And
Right.
I was like, how do I convey that to people? Like, catch your dream. Start saying catch your dream. So I was thinking about dream catchers, and I'm thinking about Meek and Ali's, but I was like, man, what's the symbol that people use, like the thing that people hang above their beds, like, mainly like Indians and stuff like that. And I remember just researching dream catchers and then seeing different patterns in nature. I sit in nature and draw and design, and I think about how God problem solves. Like I'm looking at a This is way off the thing, but we here.
We here.
I was looking at a turtle, and I was like, how does this thing that moves so cumbersome on land zip through the water like with no problem?
Be gone.
Be gone. And like, how does he take this thing that's heavy, but it's still
Uh,
buoyant enough to not even just sit on water and float, but it can go down? Like it
yeah.
does all the things. And I'm like, man, how do I problem solve like that, like nature, like God has in nature? Looking at how certain leaves are designed to catch the wind. And if they catch the wind just right, then it'll plant a seed wherever it lands, and it keeps these trees plentiful around it. And I'm just like sitting in nature, like amazed, like, oh my God. And then I start looking at patterns, and I see on a turtle shell, like the contours of it, the dome parts of it. And I said, these patterns are all in nature. Like, we're not really even seeing nothing new. And I remember going on walks because I go on walks all the time, mental health and just, something low impact to stay busy. Um, and just get out in the air because I love being in nature. I'm going on a walk and I see a bunch of footprints from other shoe companies. And I said, man, what does my shoe print look like? Because I hadn't designed the bottom of the shoe yet. And I was like, I could have like what they have, the logo on the bottom, my name or this and that, some type of traction pattern. But I was like, how do we go deeper? Like, what's the story? Like people at Nike would always ask me, what's the story? What's the feeling?
What's the story? What's the
I
feeling?
used, I used to hate it, but then I
Yeah.
got to the
Yeah.
point where I was like, I gotta embrace it because everybody's asking me. Um,
It's gonna be that. Yeah.
and that's what adds a whole nother layer to your products, to what you're making, to how you live your life, really, because that product is a legacy now. Every Jordan that Tinker or Wilson or anybody designed is a legacy. Like, what am I saying to the people? What am I saying to the basketball world? How are we playing in this shoe? What are we winning in this shoe? And it becomes its own thing. And so I was just like, I want to leave good footprints. What does that mean? How do I empower people through the footprints that they leave in my shoe? And I was like, oh, the dream catcher. You want to be a dream catcher. And so I designed the outsole to have that dream catcher pattern. Like when you put your feet together, it's a whole dream catcher. Um, and
That's
then in the
great.
middle, thank you. And then so when you leave that print, it's not only for you, but it's for other people that see it, And that was the hopes of how I designed this outsole. And then on the middle, I put our company tagline, "It's possible." Of course, I don't know if you can see it on camera,
It's
but it's on
possible.
here. It's possible. It's on here twice. And
Yeah.
so
It's
it
really
that
possible.
is really it's twice as possible.
Yeah.
And really, that came from, like I said, man, the messages I used to write to myself on the bottom of my shoe at Nike to keep myself in the hunt and stay out of my head about who I wasn't, but focus more on who I was and who I was becoming. And so I was like, man, I want people to understand, bro. This is when you walking in these. This is like my actual. This is a dream for me. This is a dream come true. You're getting to walk in my dream, and I want you to know that it's possible. And I remember praying about it one day and just God saying, like, if you leave somebody's presence and they don't know that the dream that's in them is possible, you didn't do your job. You didn't serve to the highest level that you could. So I was like, let me go on and put this on here so they know for real. Like, bro, everything that you feel like you can do, sis, whoever you might be, um, it's possible. It's twice as possible, like
Possible.
you said. So,
You said
uh,
it's twice as possible. That you came. I said it's really possible. Then you did one better and said it's twice as possible. Hey,
but yeah, those are, and I believe it. Like, it's certain days where I don't believe it as much. You know how it is, bro. Like this, we're not
uh,
we're not the same person every day. But
hey,
For
Today one of
real.
them days. Hey, I get it.
But you say this one thing, bro, and it's refreshing for me. And you always say work your bloom, and so that's it's possible in another phase. Like for me anyway. Like every time I see it on your page, it just get me back in that mode of um, those days where it's not clicking. Because
Mm,
even though it took everything to get us here, like I can't even tell you. You heard a little bit about my story, but you didn't hear the woes and the like
the dips,
the
the
dips,
lows,
the lows, getting fired,
the
having to go through
hardship.
this, the
Yeah,
hardships, breakups, a lot of money, a little money.
yeah,
But it takes all of those moments, like all of those catalyst moments too, to for me to get here and for us to do what we're supposed to do. And so those are my favorite elements of the shoe. And then just, of course, how comfortable it is for any job that you're trying to do. Um, I come from a blue collar background, so to speak, before I was working in the hospital or at Nike or doing this and that. So I know what real work is. I worked in, bro,
man.
12-hour days at the hospital sometimes, working in the warehouse. I would take odd jobs. Anytime I didn't have a contract when I was in Oregon and I wasn't at Nike, bro, I'm on the grind. Like I worked several jobs. One time I was picking up trash at a concert and I'm seeing people that I know from Nike and I'm just kind of like trying to hide and just do my job. But I'm a grinder. Like no matter where you put me, I'm catalyst. I'm a catalyst. I'm a catalyst for change or this or that. And so I was like, I'm picking up trash today, but bro, we leaving footprints like this tomorrow. So
Right,
it is
right,
what it is. Yeah.
right, man. Hey, man. Shoot, I really don't even have. It ain't nothing left for me to really say. I love conversations like this. I want to say, man, that we connected probably like 6 years ago now, about 6 years ago now, and it's been incredible to see from that from that time frame to now the journey of here. Like I this is something I know nothing about. I know nothing about owning a shoe company, designing a shoe from the ground up. I know nothing about what goes into that at all. Like, and so to see you like again, like we had conversations about this before. To see you leave the Mecca, not go to another brand, not go to another whatever, but to leave the Mecca and begin to build your own Mecca is a very inspiring thing. Um, so yeah, I'm happy for you, and I'm proud of you, man, because whatever happens from here, you did it. Like Nike says, just do it, and
We
you
just did
did
it.
it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and so like that doesn't mean this is the end. This is just the beginning. Like so, all that stuff that that happened beforehand, that
Yeah.
was just the prequel, and now we on the very first iteration, the very first of what we hope to be a classic, a legendary, a unicorn type run. So there's a few other things I wanna ask about the shoe. Like you already answered one of the questions, but when you had up the other pair in the camera, like how many other colorways are there of it?
So for where we're at in 3D printing right now, we have about 8 different colors. One of the core release colors is going to be like a lavender type purple, like a light purple. I don't have that with me today, but my mom's favorite color is purple, so of course we're doing like a whole release based around that. But we have about 8 other colors: black, cream, orange, this blue, um, red, light yellow, and light gray. And man, I like every color has its own like feel. You know how colors tend to do on footwear. but every color has its own like type of vibe. And so, man, I've been having so much fun just really just being on this side of things. And like you said, you were saying like you've never seen it happen or been a part of something like this, but in a lot of ways I haven't either. I've never had to design a full shoe from the ground up because like when you're at Nike in certain places, like you're just designing a part of something. Like even the t-shirts that I worked on, sometimes people already had like a concept and then I'm just coming in and just adding to it. And that was one of the beautiful things about being around so many great creators is that somebody always had something to layer on it. Um, like with this is me. Like this is all me layering. This is my mood board, my this, my that. I know why I picked certain shoes because they stuck out to me, and they kind of informed what the design would be. And so I had to get out of my own way to just even design from a different aspect and not bring too much of Nike into it, not bring too much of this, but um, you know, it took a while for me to get there too, because we're so influenced by the things, the jobs, the people, that sometimes they override our own
Yeah.
wiring. And so to get here, I had to both go back and think forward. Like, yes, I want to pay homage to these people and to these designers and this and that, but who am I? And when I put this on the wall, in different shoe stores or whatever, I'm like, man, no matter where you put a Catalyst, we're gonna stand out, if nothing else. If I tried to go to Nike and just hide, somebody gonna be like, bro, what do the light is gonna shine somewhere. And so when I'm thinking about what we're gonna do in the future and who we are and who we can be in the footwear industry, I'm like, we're just going to be a catalyst in the industry, whatever that means, whatever form that takes. We have to find a way to stick out, and we have to find a way to storytell and think and problem solve um, on a level that's true to us. Our capacity. That's how we serve. So, yeah, man, I've been having a time for real.
So I want to ask, like, just from your thoughts, your opinion, how is the comfort on them?
Comfort is one of my big things because, like I said, having a blue collar background, I know what your feet are going to go through when you're at the warehouse, when you're a barber, when you're in the medical field, all these things. And even though we're not creating for world class athletes like MJ and this person or that person, I was just like, man, comfort has to be at the forefront. We want to have something that looks cool, but cool is subjective. Comfort is not. And so when I was talking about the Jordan 28 earlier, it's one of the most comfortable shoes that I ever put on because of the the mid foot shank plate. It just kind of springs you up into your next step. And also, if you have a low hanging arch, it kind of sits up against it. But if you have just a super, super flat foot and something like that, it allows it to dip down. So for me, comfort on a scale of 1 to 10, this is about a 9.8. Just so I,
Okay.
I was gonna say 11 out of 10, but truly
You gotta
recommend.
give yourself a little room to grow. You know what I'm
Little
saying?
room, yeah. It's always some growth points. But my brother, who works he works in the post office delivering mail all day. He wore his pair for a week, and he was like, "Man, we got to get a post office contract because this is the best feeling shoe that I've put on." The barbers that have already bought them, like they're like, "Man, I could cut another 2 hours," and I've been on my feet for like 7 or 8. And getting feedback like that from people that I know are using it, that I know, I kind of know how their foot is. As a designer, like a footwear designer, bro, you got to be thinking about the comfort level to this and to that, and all the feedback has been like next level reviews. Like from the first person um, that tried him on, he was like 82 and still active, still goes on walks and works out. He said, "Man, I love these." He bought 3 pair, and so I was like, we have all of these testimonials from people that I couldn't really account for, but getting the feedback on the comfort level itself, how spongy they are all the way around. it's been great feedback so far. And then I wear mine all day, bro. Like
I
usually,
mean, you know, you eat with yours, you sleep with yours, you take a shower with a pair, you got a
if I
pair for
could, I
walking,
would.
you got a pair for working out. Hey man, and as you should, as you
Yeah,
this is something to be proud of, man. So the only other thing that we need to know is when can we grab a pair, and where can we grab a pair?
absolutely, absolutely. So we'll be dropping globally on the Zellerfeld site. A lot of people don't know Zellerfeld. That's fine. But they are the company that makes Nike's 3D printed shoe, and it's next level too. And so they're at the forefront of this whole 3D printed footwear thing. And so I've been able to partner with them and partner with other people that Nike partners with, which is amazing for me to be an independent designer and being able to work at this level. That's how I know I'm going to get a through and through quality. But I say that to say we'll be dropping globally on the Zellerfeld site. You just go to their search bar, zellerfeld.com, type in Catalyst with a K, and then we'll pop up. And then also, if you want to buy it on my site, which we love the traffic, I'm going to just put that out there. And then also on my site, we'll have other merch that you can't get on our Zellerfeld link. So like we'll have the Catalyst shirts and hats, all the things that all things Catalyst will be on my site. And that's catalystfootwear.com. That's Catalyst with a K, footwear, all one word. And that's www.catalystfootwear.com. You can pick up merch. We'll upload some more stuff probably tomorrow and Friday, like as far as t-shirts, hoodies, all the things. And then you'll be able to order the shoe from us, or you can go to the Zellerfeld site and get it. But yeah,
All right, man. Hey, man. Again,
we're here.
it's possible.
It's
Twice as
possible.
possible. Hey, man.
Exactly.
Again, man. Congratulations to you. Proud of you, man. Happy for you, and I look forward to see where the Catalyst goes. Not just the one, but Catalyst brand. Period. Where it goes from here, man. Let the people know where they can keep up with your story, where they can keep up with all the different versions of the Catalyst.
So I want to say real quick before I say this, man, thank you for being a part of my story, bro. Like you alluded to 5, 6 years that we've been knowing each other, and man, you've been solid ever since. It was a pleasure to be able to walk you around Nike and different things, and then have you on the journey of. I still feel like I was becoming Catalyst when I met
Mm-hmm.
you, and
Yeah,
even though I'm here, like I still have more, like you said, more room to grow and all the things, and keep
right.
working my own bloom. But I just want to say thank you real quick, man. Like you solid, you're a real one, you're a real one, and I
Appreciate you.
appreciate you every time.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. And so you can find me on all forms of social media, Catalyst Footwear. That's Catalyst with a K. And that's all of them. Like if you're still on Facebook, I'm there too because I'm back in these Texas, bro. I'm back in these Texas. Like I have to keep that Facebook going. And
Yep.
seeing people I graduated with that see me doing this now, they like, bro, you've been drawing shoes since you was in school, so it's so cool to see it come to life. And I've been on the news and everything, but um, all forms of social media, from Instagram, Catalyst with a K, LinkedIn, all of that. And I want to say too, like if it's anybody that's interested in getting in footwear, um, feel free to ask me any questions, bro. Like I'm not a gatekeeper when it comes to people trying to pursue this thing. And if you hit me on LinkedIn or just scroll through my stuff on LinkedIn, there's so many people under my posts that work at shoe companies. Bro, reach out to any of them or tell them you know me and, start the conversation. Like if I need to interject myself, I will. I love seeing people just go for their dreams, bro. And if I can be any part of that through any form of social media or you interact with the product that I made or something like that, bro, I'm here for it. So,
Yeah, and he mean that, y'all. He
for
ain't.
real.
It's a lot of fluff and a lot of, you know, facade, but smoke and mirrors. But nah, he really mean that anything that you can ask him if he don't have the answer to it, he'll figure out a way to get you to the answer from somebody else or somewhere else. So just like again, man, like I appreciate you sharing a part of your journey, sharing a part of your story as you continue to write it. And we'll be able to look back on this one day, man, and just be like, damn, okay. So, hey, man, keep going, keep working your bloom, man, and keep making the things that are possible and doing them. And I hope that you exceed your own expectations. I hope that God blows your mind beyond what you had in it, like of what you thought it would be, that it goes far beyond. And I'll be right here supporting you, cheering for you, man, and doing what I can to help motivate you and encourage you. So,
I appreciate that for real, for
yes,
real.
sir.
Cause we need it, man. It's days where it's possible doesn't even resonate with me. And I want to say real quick too. I know we at the end, but I used to listen to this powerful speaker, Les Brown. I love Les Brown, bro. He has a
One of the
talk.
ones.
He one of them ones. He has a whole talk called "It's Possible," and I remember that having a ring in my head until I believed it. Like on the way to this, the ups and downs of just regular life, but also pursuing something, and I would have to play "It's Possible." And like his whole talk, I would just play it and play it and play it, and until it started feeling like I could, like walk into that. And so when it shows up on my shoe, like it's no coincidence. Like when it shows up on the company tagline, it's no coincidence. But I just want to leave people with like, bro, it's possible, man. Your dream, the steps that it took for me to get here, the steps to see even you evolve into, bro, you've been everywhere now. You've been everywhere now. And if somebody would have told you at the beginning of your journey or whatever that you would be in some of the places that you've been, I know you'll be looking like me, like I don't know where
Man, I
this.
don't know who you thinking about. It ain't me. You gotta be
Yeah,
you went to
I
the
don't
you
know.
went to the wrong timeline. Jump back in that machine and go somewhere else, man.
You on an alternate
Yeah,
timeline,
the
bro? Like,
alternate one, man.
but we both here, and it's amazing to see the growth in you. And then yeah, I can even say in myself, like I know I used to hate being on camera and hate this and hate that, and I still have those times where I'm just so nervous. But I'll pray real quick, call somebody if I need to, and then just get back in that catalyst mode and
Right.
just go at it, man. So yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. And till next time, everybody understand that it's possible
It's
and
possible.
peace.
Peace.